I have been inspired to write about my experiences due to some recent things that have happened when my fiancé and I recently purchased a home here in Cheektowaga, New York. It's really hard to choose where to begin, so I think I will start with the happenings here at our new home that we have lived in for just a little bit over a month. I do want to first state that I have believed in ghosts since I was a young child and have had a few interesting experiences with the whole paranormal phenomenon. Now, one of the features we really love about this place is the finished basement. It has nice tile flooring, a bar, ceiling tiles, nice laundry area and a laundry chute conveniently placed. We have a few cats, so I have to take them into consideration when trying to debunk certain things. One of the first things I noticed that kept happening was when I would go downstairs into the basement, ceiling tiles would be knocked down in various places. I first thought that maybe the cats could have jumped to knock them down. One spot was next to the bar, so a cat could have jumped off the bar and hit the ceiling tile. Though it seemed unlikely. They are not very expensive material, just kind of a cheap foam-like material, but they look very nice. They are lightweight, sure, but the way they are placed, it's not exactly easy to knock them down. So whenever I seen these knocked down, I would just get a little bit irritated and carefully push them back into place. Not incredibly easy because I have to bend them into place trying not to break the ceiling tiles. It got to the point where I would almost always expect to see tiles knocked down in places that the cats could not possibly reach, which made me a little bit paranoid of the paranormal activity possibly going on in this household. I honestly thought at the early weeks of living here with the tiles alone that maybe some spirit has been knocking down those tiles out of some kind of frustration from us moving in. I found out from the neighbor that the lady who used to live here and her husband have long since passed away, and their children just kept the house up but did not live in it. It seems quite possible that their spirits stayed here in their home, and when we moved in, it's like we maybe intruded on their home. Can't say this is true for sure, but it does seem this way. So after a while I have started seeing less ceiling tiles getting knocked down and different things happening. My fiancé at first thought someone tried breaking in the house because upstairs there is one room that our two boys share, 6 and 3, and another unfinished room that we mean to finish into a room, but currently it's just attic space. This happens to be directly above our room. She will always hear strange noises in that room in the middle of the night, and I also, when I am here, will hear strange noises coming from there. It started with a loud bang, like someone jumped really high and landed heavy boots on the floor. We thought maybe someone somehow climbed up to the window up there, snuck in and landed on the floor heavy. We have a pit bull, so he brought him up there to see what the commotion was and checked everywhere to make sure no one had in fact broke in. No one was there and the windows were closed. I've heard this loud bang several times, and she has heard this much more than I have. She says she has heard what sounds like furniture being moved around up there fairly often. There is nothing up there to be moved, and recently she has heard what she said sounded like the cats chasing each other around, but none of them were up there because she checked. They were actually in the room with her sleeping. Nothing and no one was up there as usual. She has basically just accepted that this is some kind of paranormal thing going on. We don't feel like there's any evil type of presence, but just some sort of presence. One common thing that I have felt on countless occasions is that cold chill coming from the back of you, like someone is standing there, especially if I am at the computer. I kind of feel that right now actually. You just feel like someone is there watching from behind you. Now I have had some weird occurrences when I'll be up late night watching some TV or whatever. I had my TV turn on and off and on and off and on and off. I was thinking I bumped the power button on the remote maybe and it delayed. But then having the remote far from me and untouched, it happened quite a few more times, like something was trying to get my attention. Sometimes my computer will turn off by itself and I don't have it set to shut off. I thought maybe it was overheating as it is 5 years old, but I checked the temps and everything and cleaned it out, and it seems sort of unlikely that it should be doing that. My son has also told his mother that his PlayStation 3 turns on and off a lot by itself. One strange occurrence, my fiancée said her father called concerned, saying she called him 3 times within a minute and she never called him. That was strange. Now if there are spirits living here, perhaps the former owners of the house, It would seem that we are maybe coming to some sort of understanding that hey, we are the new owners, but it's okay if you all stay here. I don't know much more than that, but it just seems common that spirits linger around here and there, as it would seem this sort of thing has happened to me for a long time, and also to my mother, who shared some bizarre experiences about spirits she could see. She said for a very long time there were these spirits that would haunt her and she could see them just fine. She said they tried to kill her when driving on the road. They would try to get her to run off the run. She told me that it wasn't until she met my father that they left and never returned. I always kind of wondered about that, like did they actually leave or did they just choose not to be seen anymore? When I was very young, I would see some kind of crazy-looking ghostly figures just floating around and they would freak me out. I was scared, so I would knock on my parents' door until they would let me in so I could sleep in their bed with them. My mother always mentioned how I was brave to get up like that in the dark by myself. I would lay there even in that comfort and stare up and see these floating apparitions, and sometimes they would look towards me. It scared me then. I stopped seeing these as I grew older, but I would feel some sort of presences time to time that I would be scared of, so I would run really fast past certain places where I felt they were. These experiences when I was younger happened in San Diego, California, where we lived in Navy housing. My father was in the Navy, so he would be gone for long periods out to sea. We have moved quite a bit. I felt that I always sensed spirits, but I guess I mostly just ignored them. When we moved to Virginia in this house that my parents finally bought, there were some strange happenings here. My sister, myself, my mother would always hear footsteps in the house when no one else was home. Like if we were downstairs in the finished basement, I would go down there to do laundry, exercise or watch movies and would hear those footsteps, would go up to see who was there and it would be no one. We all knew there was something there, but my father denied that as a possibility. I don't know if he ever heard anything like that himself, and if he did, maybe he denied it or ignored it, who knows. I remember I brought a friend of mine over there once and we were just hanging out, but he told me he thought he saw some weird-looking guy with a dark hat staring out the window when we pulled up. No one else was there and we checked out the house and no one was there. We were hanging out on the back deck just talking and the door handle turned and the door opened. Now this door handle would squeak when it turned, so it was pretty obvious that it turned, but the first time it happened I just shrugged it off and made sure the door was shut. Then shortly after it happened again. My friend there was very freaked out. I went in there with a bat searching the house thinking maybe someone broke in there, but I could find no evidence or clue of anyone being in there. So I went back out there with my friend. Door shut and it happened again. Door handle squeaked as it turned and opened. He was like, "I'm out of here," and just drove off as fast as possible. I actually was feeling very nervous being in there to myself, probably more so than I ever have considering what had just happened, but I stayed there. I feel like the man he said he saw sounded like one of the spirits that my mother described to me, but I was not sure. I don't think I told her what happened, probably not to alarm her. Something that is interesting is that she told me she stopped hearing the footsteps and weird stuff happening when I moved out. That made me feel like whatever was there in that house maybe followed me. Who knows? Maybe it has been following me my whole life. I don't know. It's something that I usually try not to think about or interfere with my life, but sometimes it's inevitable. Now when I decided to move from Virginia to New York with my girlfriend, we moved into this big 4-bedroom place for rent. We, after some time living there, decided to have a kid. We always felt like there was some sort of presence in this place. When we had our son, it seemed he would be laughing at the air or engaged with something that was not visible. I swear this has happened with all our kids. It seems that when kids are of a young age, they can see spirits, or maybe just some kids. Maybe it's inherited, not sure really. Before we moved away to another place, I had this very realistic dream that this spirit tried to talk to me and was telling me there was gold in the house. The dream made me wonder if that was possible. Did this spirit really try to tell me this? There were plenty of places it could have been hid. It was an old house. I never pursued looking for any gold though, as I thought that would just be ridiculous. Moving on. My fiance's brother died a long while ago in 2001 and we moved to the same place she used to live with her family. This was very strange as I had no idea, but she asked her aunt if she knew of any places available for rent and her landlord had this same place available. I didn't know she used to live there until after we moved and she told me this. I found it hard to believe until she showed me old pictures of her and her brother and family when they were younger. This was very weird. I mean, what are the chances of this happening? Coincidence? I don't really believe in that because I have always had strange experiences over the years, whether spiritual, paranormal or hint of psychic. So anyway, my two daughters now, 2 and 5, my kids are all very close in age. They out of nowhere would start saying Eddie. Eddie is my fiance's brother's name who passed away, and it was this house they started saying this where he used to live. My fiancée, Amanda, would have dreams of him coming to visit her or talk to her time to time, and she would tell me about this. I always felt like he was there. It didn't bother me, I just kind of accepted that he was there, and I feel that he probably is here as well, but that I can't be fully sure of. Maybe he just visits, don't know. They don't say his name as much living here now, but on some occasions. It's especially strange since my older daughter, 5, has autism and doesn't really speak but will say that name on occasion, but also my other daughter would say that, and she is quite a bit younger. My younger son also has autism, 3. So I remember one night my fiancée and I had some fight about something, and then I just wanted to be left alone. She followed me into the pitch-dark living room in the middle of the night, and we were just sitting there not saying anything, and my phone turned on and pretty much illuminated the whole room. Like the difference from us not being able to see each other from the darkness to being able to see, and I looked up at the phone and was just thinking, okay. I didn't expect that. With the ceiling tiles being knocked down on occasion, the weird noises that go on upstairs, the TV having freaked out turning on and off a bunch of times without touching the remote, just all these strange occurrences. I still want to be in denial about what happens, yet I feel that I can't really deny it. I guess I try to debunk most of it for my own sanity. I guess it spooks me to some degree, like I'll feel like I see someone to the corner of my eye but no one is there. I don't like that, but it's not the worst thing in the world at the same time. It's like I say though, it doesn't feel evil or disturbing. It's just like some kind of stranger that I can't see or really talk to, that on occasion likes to make crazy noises upstairs or knock down ceiling tiles downstairs. That actually irritates me though. I think the spirits know it does because they have mostly stopped doing that. So as far as the paranormal goes, that is pretty much it up to date. Whatever it is, we'll deal with it just fine. There is no real conflict here. I wonder if I should try setting a recorder upstairs and study it. Might be scared of what I might catch though, or video setup or something, don't know.